So the cold air is coming, but will it come in time to open ski areas across the Midwest? We'll answer that question and much more on today's Snowmaking Report. What's going on, Midwest skiers and riders? Matthew Zaransky with MidwestSkiers.com. And it is a lovely Friday today, November 21st, because we have a lot of good news on the horizon after getting a couple of weeks of kind of mediocre news. But this is going to be a great one. I'm very excited about this forecast. So without further ado, because we got a lot to cover, let's dive right on into it. All right, folks, we're going to actually get started in the Twin Cities metro area at Welch, Minnesota. And as you can see, it's been pretty warm here across the Twin Cities metro and even just honestly Minnesota as a whole. We've been in the 50s, 40s, 50s the last, honestly 10 days or more. And you can see that kind of continuing here all the way through to Sunday. But as you're going to start to see, Monday, Tuesday, things drop off dramatically. And Tuesday night, say around 10 o'clock, is when we're going to start to fire up. And this will include most, if not all, of this Twin Cities metro areas. And we're going to see continuous snowmaking basically Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Pretty much don't have to turn the guns off. We have one spot maybe on Wednesday afternoon, but with the humidity being as low as it is, 54%, we're still in the green zone there. So we can go ahead, maybe need to tip the guns back a little bit more, but you can go ahead and fire through all of that. But the nights, we're getting down to the teens. That's amazing. We're going to be able to put a ton of snow on the ground, that 3-4 stretch. And what's great is, even at the tail end of this, we're still looking really, really good with snow showers even in the forecast on Saturday. So we hope that this cold weather continues into Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, the following, going into December, the first week of December, because that's going to mean that we're going to even be able to, stockpile more snow, open more runs that following weekend. But what we can expect from this forecast is I believe that there will be a lot of ski areas in the Twin City metro, including Welch Village, that will probably open on either Friday or Saturday, just depending on how their output goes with snowmaking. It's going to be limited terrain. You're talking just a handful of runs, but given that we're going to be able to run continuously, kind of starting on that late Tuesday, early Wednesday, all the way through, I wouldn't be surprised if we see a bunch of ski areas start to announce openings mid next week. So if you're looking for skiing after the Thanksgiving holiday, I think you're going to have more than a couple of options. And speaking of, we've had a lot of opening day announcements already. So this is where you got to go check out our map at midwestskiers.com/resort guide. We're going to turn ski areas orange when they announce or have announced opening days. We have a bunch already. Lutsen announced, Granite Peak, Snow River, Ski Brule is opening today. Andy's Tower Hills is going to reopen next week. So go check that out because we're going to update that map basically as opening days start to come in. It's really hard to kind of manage all this information, but on that map, it's really easy to see, boom, who's open and when and where. So go check that out if you haven't already. Moral of the story is, though, we're going to have a lot of orange and then green filling our map come probably mid to late next week. Now, I can see some ski areas deciding to hold off opening and just make as much snow as possible. But I do think, given that we're kind of later in the season than we'd like to be for a lot of places for as far as snowmaking goes, I feel like a lot of people will just want to get open, even if it's like a season pass only situation where they only open for season pass holders. I have a feeling that we're going to see a lot of opening days on that Friday and Saturday of that weekend. So keep your eyes on that map as we move a little bit closer. Let's go up to Duluth. You're going to see a very similar story here. Basically, we got, warm weather, even a little bit of rain going into Monday. However, that Tuesday night, it's going to drop off quick, 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock, midnight. We can start making snow. So this will be your Spirit Mountains, your Giants Ridge, who's been already announced an opening day, but they've been putting out a ton of snow, and Lutsen as well. Those guys are going to be able to fire up that Tuesday night and basically stay on it all the way through into next weekend. So again, I could see maybe a Spirit Mountain opening on Saturday. They might need that extra day, maybe not Friday, but maybe Saturday to kind of get, a little snowmaking going. It's been a little bit of a later push for those guys, and honestly, just the Midwest in general. But great forecast, basically, as soon as that late Tuesday night, early Wednesday hits, we're gold. We're going to just be making snow, watching those webcams. So you're going to have your Thanksgiving dinner with a little snowmaking webcam on in the background, wax the skis after you get your turkey in you, and get ready for some skiing on Friday and Saturday across kind of the greater Minnesota area, especially in the northern area. Let's go over to a ski area that is opening today, Friday, November 21st. first, and that is Ski Brule. They have had, the UP has had a sneaky good forecast the last couple of weeks, and it kind of flew under the radar. Even for me, the first week we missed them, and last week I did point it out that they had a better forecast than I thought. We did see a lot more ski areas fire up this past week than I thought, only on the nights, but they were able to put some snow on the ground, and we got a nice forecast for them as well, coming in a little bit later, obviously coming through that Tuesday. Now, Ski Brule is open today, tomorrow, through the weekend, and Sunday. Obviously, they're probably going to close Monday and then make a push towards reopening most likely on Friday. So, snowmaking, again, going to pick up late on that Tuesday afternoon, evening, and then basically it's going to start to take over maybe around 1 o'clock, and then all guns a-blazing literally for the next 4 days or so. Another one to watch up there, so we had Snow River that announced that they're going to be opening, I believe it's Friday that week. And then also watch Norway's been pushing. They just opened for the first time in, I don't even know how many years, since like 2008 or 9 last year. And they've been really trying hard, using all the opportunities that they can to make as much snow as possible. So make sure you keep an eye on them as well. Somebody pointed out in the comments, so thank you for that. But as we move a little bit later, I could see them possibly opening on a Friday, Saturday with some limited terrain as well. So keep an eye on those guys over there. So really good forecast for them as well. One area that we've been having a lot of questions about is Alpine Valley down in southern Wisconsin, Elkhorn, Wisconsin. We had a question, could they open this week? I said probably not. Don't see that happening given the forecast that we have going here. However, next week is looking a lot more promising, maybe a Saturday, because we have this warm weather coming through Friday, Saturday, Sunday, looking kind of terrible. We got even rain in the forecast on Monday. However, you look at that drop starting on Tuesday afternoon into Wednesday. Now, it's not going to hit them until a little bit later, 6 a.m. Wednesday night. Do they fire up? Maybe. They might just wait until Wednesday afternoon/evening, around 7, 8 o'clock, get things rolling. And then again, they're going to be able to go basically all the way through. You got a couple areas that might get tight, but again, with the humidity being as low as it is, 47% at 1 o'clock on Thursday. And let's see, 50%. 31 degrees with 50%, so they're still in the green light there with the wet bulb temperature to be able to run through that. And that's such a big deal for those that don't know. Not having to shut things down and like clean up everything and then have to fire it back up. It takes so long to get guns running that if you're able to continuously make snow through that time period, it's a big deal, because not only are you going to produce a lot more snow, but it just saves so much time, because you're not having to spend all this time going around shutting down all these guns, especially a place like Alpine Valley where you have so many of guns all over every single run. Shut them down, restart them when it gets cold again. This is the kind of like temperatures that we like. Obviously, we like it to be a little bit colder on the top end, but still, early season, this is great. Getting a 4-day push like this, plus potentially, is amazing, and this is what we want to see for snowmaking. We want to see this type of weather where we're getting sustained cold temperatures over the course of many days. That's what we want to see. Even if it does get up to the marginal temps during the day, that's okay, as long as they don't have to fire down and have to put it all back up at night. This is going to be gold. So I could definitely see Alpine Valley, some of those southern ski areas in Wisconsin opening maybe on that Saturday. They might need that Friday to kind of catch up on snowmaking. But, again, it might be a limited terrain season pass holder situation for some of those ski areas, but especially those that have higher outputs, Little Switzerland, Alpine Valley, even like a Cascade. I could see those guys potentially opening with some limited terrain on that Saturday after Thanksgiving, the 29th. So keep an eye on our map and obviously their social media pages as we get a little bit closer to that. Now let's go down to Clarkston, Michigan. So this would be our Pine Knobs of the world here. Again, terrible forecast going all the way in, basically through into Wednesday night. Again, they get a nice little window starting kind of that Wednesday night. And Thursday, they do get much warmer than the other forecasts that we've seen. So they would definitely have to fire things down probably Thursday afternoon, and then dipping back down. And then Thursday night, they look like they got a really nice opportunity to start making snow starting around 9, 10 o'clock, and then run it basically all the way through the weekend. So again, good forecast is coming a little bit later than obviously some of the other areas that we've looked at, given where it's located, but they're going to have some nice windows Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and probably Sunday, depending on what the extended forecast looks behind the 29th. But I'm going to cross my fingers and hope that it's pretty good. So another question we're going to have is, could Pine Knob open for a Saturday or Sunday opening? I would say, yeah, I could definitely see that being a possibility with the output that they can put. And the fact that they're getting down to, as low as lower 20 degrees with relatively decent humidity, maybe a Saturday, maybe a Sunday opening. Again, it's going to probably be limited terrain, but we'll keep your eyes on their webcam and their social media pages as we edge a little bit closer to that weekend. But one area that I know everybody's going to be watching is going to be Boyne Mountain and those guys up north, because Thanksgiving weekend, man, we love to see skiing up there. And can we get it this year? It's going to be tight, and a lot might depend on this natural snow / rain that we're seeing. So as you can see, we have really warm temperatures all the way through until Wednesday night. That's when this rain starts to turn into snow. They're projecting about 2 inches of snow, another inch or so of snow on Thursday. So, and then, the snowmaking temperatures look okay. They're super shallow on Wednesday night. And then again, Thursday's looking much better. Thursday and then Friday and then into Saturday. So I think it's really going to come down to a matter of how much snow can they make during those night sessions, and then how much natural snow do they get. But I wouldn't be surprised with how aggressive Boyne is if that we see a season pass holders only weekend on Saturday and Sunday or something like that. We've seen that in the past with Boyne. Well, they'll open some limited terrain, but they'll do it just for their season pass holders. So keep an eye on some of those northern resorts, because they might sneak a sneaky opening in maybe Saturday or Sunday as well. So it's all going to depend, again, on a few degrees. We saw that earlier this week, how that forecast actually trended a little bit colder during some of those nights than we expected this past Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. So they were able to make snow in a lot of areas that I didn't know if they would. So keep an eye on the forecast. It's going to change a lot. Remember, that's about a week away from now. So things will change between now and then. But basically kind of keep them on the webcam watch starting late Wednesday. Watch that natural snow, and then obviously the snowmaking output through Thursday and Friday. But I wouldn't be surprised if we see somebody up north open with some limited terrain in Michigan as well. Now we got some exciting news. We're going to go down to Ohio. Somebody commenting, are you going to cover Ohio? And I was like, when the time is right. Well, guess what? The time is right. We're getting in front here, which we're definitely going to see some people fire up down in Ohio for the first time in the season, which I'm super excited about. So again, very warm forecast going in all the way through Wednesday. Wednesday night looking kind of shallow, but again, this might be a good opportunity for them to test, right? Test the system, make sure everything is good, because after that, Thursday night, Friday, and then Saturday, looking much better for snowmaking. And this would be your snow trails, potentially your Boston Mills Brandywine, and then we'll get to Perfect North in just a minute, because they also have a couple of windows that we want to talk about too. So could see them maybe fire up Wednesday night, get things tested, not a ton of output, but get everything rolling. Have to shut it down Thursday during the day, but then fire back up starting on Thursday night, and then basically you're going to go ahead and basically be able to fire all the way through Thursday night through Friday, and then most of Saturday too. It does get a little warm on Saturday afternoon, 54 degrees, but again with that 59% humidity, you're kind of right on the borderline there, or again, you might just let them roll. And even if you're just kind of spraying a little water in the air for a couple hours, that's okay. It's better than probably having to shut it down. And then kind of definitely getting back at it during that night session where things are going to drop back down to like the upper 20s. So a lot of good news for our friends in Ohio who will see some snowmaking over that Thanksgiving break as well. So lots of good news here across the Midwest about that. Is it enough to see an opening? I don't think so. I think this is going to be one of those situations that really depends on what's behind this system. But I have a feeling they're going to let it sit in piles, focus on snowmaking, and then maybe circle that first weekend in December as an opening. And that's a pretty standard thing for like a snow trails to open on. I feel like if they get the weather that they can make some snow. And I think they might have it just depending on what's behind this front here going into the first week of December. And lastly, let's close out with our friends down in Lawrenceburg, our Perfect North friends. They are really warm, man. They've been warm, and they do not have a good forecast up until similar to that Snow Trails forecast, that like Thursday, starting Wednesday night, Thursday, and then Thursday night, things drop off a little bit more. Now, they're not getting as deep as Snow Trails is, but they're definitely going to have some time here to get the guns on, get things going, especially on Friday night. Friday night, things kind of kick in a little bit more, starting around 10 o'clock, and then rolling all the way through to about 10 in the morning. So we have about a 12-hour session potentially for Perfect North. Again, not going to be enough to open for that weekend, but again, that first weekend in December, if temperatures are good behind this system, it's a possibility. If we have more opportunity to make snow, everybody knows Perfect North can put a ton of snow on the ground really, really quickly. It doesn't take much. So if we have a really good pattern kind of sitting behind this the first week of December, I can 100% see Perfect North opening that first weekend in December if things are, going in that good direction of getting a little bit cooler and cooler down there. So we're gonna keep our fingers crossed for our friends down in Indiana and Ohio, because it's just exciting to see the Midwest, the entire Midwest, really start to kind of get this cold weather. Usually, it starts with us in Minnesota, works its way down, and we're starting to kind of all get it at the same time, which is pretty exciting because we're gonna see a lot of snowmaking starting on Wednesday and then basically going through the Thanksgiving weekend. So what an amazing little forecast. We've obviously had a really slow start to the season as far as snowmaking goes across the Midwest, but I'm very excited about this one because this is going to be a good push that's going to allow a lot of snowmaking over the course of 4 or 5 days. So let's keep our fingers crossed that we can see a good pattern in that first week of December, and hopefully we're going to see a lot of ski areas announce opening days as we get into midweek, maybe Tuesday, Wednesday of next week, aiming for that weekend, especially in our northern parts of the Midwest, and maybe the following week for some of our friends a little bit more south. So keep an eye on that map so you guys can stay up to date on opening days and snowmaking and all that fun stuff. Again, that's midwestskiers.com/resort guide. But until next week, I hope everybody has a great week. Pray for that snow or cold temperatures, and I'll see you out there. It's here, guys. Cold temps are here.